This painting is a failure. Hi, Nolak here. I'm not saying it's a bad painting. Objectively, it does have a somber mood. The empty background does symbolize how isolated the character is. It has the character symbol, and it kind of looks like the character. But I still consider this a failure of a painting. Why? Let's go back in time 25 days ago. Back to a time where I only had a sliver of hope that I'd be able to draw anime men. 7 months ago, I told myself, I'm gonna draw Logos, my favorite character from hit game Arknights. And then I sketched it, was disgusted with what I saw, and never looked at this again. Until when I started this project. If you've watched my channel before, you know a lot of what I do is just a lot of art studies. There's some outliers, but generally I find a way to achieve my goal, study a specific artist, and like a 6-year-old in a show and tell, I present it to you, the audience. And today, or 25 days ago, it was nothing different. As you know, artists have preferences. Some only draw and post girls. Some only draw and post guys. Like a gacha game, releasing characters, all of the characters I draw, or not all, 99% of the characters I draw are women. And it's not because I have anything against guys. Guys have something against me because whenever I attempt to draw men, I always fail. Either something looks wrong with their face, or it ends up looking like a girl with short hair. There are some artists out there who have mastered how to draw both men and women. Skade. So, how do you make a study? First, I gather references, then I make notes, which is what you're looking at right now. And third is applying what you learned. Gathering the notes was easy. And since the problem I have is not being able to draw men's faces, I thought to myself, okay, this is pretty simple. Let's just study the proportions and this is gonna be easy. It was not easy. It was not easy whatsoever. Partially because proportions are a little bit of a trap. If they're too strict, they become hard to memorize. If the end goal is to be able to draw faces consecutively and quickly, even if you're using references, there's some things you need to intuitively know the lengths of and memorize. And if you think of, oh, the length of the face is supposed to be 12 eyes tall, how are you supposed to memorize that? Genuinely, I can't. There's some things I can memorize, numbers is not one of them. If you're too strict on your proportions, you might get same face syndrome. But on the other hand, if you're too loose with them, for example, you say, oh, the eyes are halfway down the head. They become useless as soon as you turn the face a certain angle, because then suddenly the eyes are not in the middle of the head. Memorizing proportions only work in similar angles. You tilt the face, some proportions break, like the length between the two eyes. These are my 3 practice sketches. One proportion that is the most important in this whole video, and it is the length between the hairline and the eyes is the same length between the eyes and the bottom of the nose, and the same length between the bottom of the nose and the bottom of the chin. It works on, I think, majority of the angles. Did I learn to draw men by this stage? No. There's a reason why this tutorial is not a tutorial. If I knew how to draw men by this stage, I would also know how to paint men. And I do get there in the end. But first, some pain and suffering must be undergone. The lighting sucks, the composition sucks, the expression doesn't match the actions. What, is he taking a bite of the apple and crying? Why? This makes entirely no sense whatsoever. I told myself to not be as deprecating as I am. So I'm not gonna call this ugly. I'm just gonna call this questionable. Can you tell that I usually draw girls? Because what is this? Look at this painting and tell me what's wrong. Oh, right. Don't guys manspread? So there's two options I could have gone here. I could have fixed the expressions or fixed the lighting theme. Go for a more sad mood. I did none of these things. A picture tells 1,000 words. Sometimes a story. This story is of confusion. So what am I gonna do? Start from the beginning? No. No. The tones aren't too bad here. But if we lean into the sadness and put his head in the shadow and fix the values with overlay, and then you add color. This character Caleb, so much angst. I feel like I need to show the full process to show how messed up this whole painting is, but at the same time, I don't want to show you this whole process, so I'm going to attempt to distract you with his character story from the game that I like. Imagine the only person you interact with as a kid, the one person you care about, has her memories reset every single day. Because you're test subjects undergoing incredibly painful experiments as children. You escape this life and grow up normally in your college years. You get caught up in an explosion and almost die, and you have a chip implanted into you that in a strange twist of fate erases your memories, all of your memories except for the memories of that one person that you care for. 7% of your brain. And then, despite being a colonel with a lot of power, you know you need to stay away from that girl because of that chip. Now you're a puppet of that company who saved your life and put you in this position. But then she barges into your life anyways, and you have two choices here. Walk away, or lock her up and hide her in a place that no one could ever find her and hurt her. And you're still being experimented on, and if you're too emotional, your memories are reset. Oh, so much angst. Why can't you just take off the chip? Because if you do, all memories of the girl that you love will be poof, erased. I love this yandere. It reminds me of Sauron from Tsubasa Chronicles. Oh, what the? I mean, it does look better. But would you consider this a skate study? No. And am I going to start over again and waste... How many hours did this take? I think you can understand how much of a failure this is. Anime proportions? The rendering, not so much. Think about it like this. If my goal was to make a grilled cheese sandwich and I accidentally made a pizza, even if the pizza tastes good, I didn't meet the goal, so that's a failure. Would you be able to tell if this is a skate study if I didn't tell you? Did you think I'd finish this without a good ending? If I can analyze exactly what I did wrong and just delete it from my process, can't I take out all of the semi-realism aspects and what's left is the anime style? The proportions are good, according to the sketch, right? So if I can get rid of the rendering and the soft shadows, limit the amount of colors in the skin and shadow in the highlight, limit the amount of colors in the hair, wouldn't that just work out? First, some practice. In the last painting, I used too many brushes. So let's only render with one brush. I had too many layers and too many layer modes. So let's have a maximum of 3 working layers and otherwise merge them as I go. And no other layers than normal layers. No liquefy. Let's keep it rough with 2 hours max. And let's do the most boring lighting known to man. Let's make these practice paintings as boring as possible so that the only way to make the paintings look good is not to distract you, with interesting lighting or interesting colors. But in order for the paintings to look good, the faces need to look good. And I've been playing IS5 in Arknights for a while. So let's draw this adorable executor from Arknights with his fluffy cape. What went wrong with the other paintings is that you can do a lot of things in your paintings to distract from the stuff that you're bad at. It's like jingling keys in front of a baby to distract them from what's happening. So to distract you from the horrible face, a lot of the things I did was I did fun lighting. I put the face in shadow. I focused on the rendering of the clothing. I focused on the lighting. I randomly rendered the most perfect apples known to man. But the most important part that I wanted to focus on was the failure. So let's take out all of that and only use the most basic of methods. This triangle brush is the most used brush I've ever used for years now, I think. And it's a free brush on the Clip Studio Paint assets. Let's move on to the next sketch, Enmin. In this painting and in the next few paintings, I switched to only the G pen, which is a basic default round brush, with the pressure sensitivity turned on. Because I realized that I think it's easier for people to follow along, even if you don't have Clip Studio Paint, because every single drawing program has the round brush. As long as the brush has some opacity to it, mixing the colors is as simple as lightly layering the colors and then just using the color dropper tool. This tutorial is actually so off track. It's not even a tutorial anymore. This is just a rant about the 25 days it took for me to learn how to draw men. Because think about it, if it really was proportions, wouldn't I have gotten it right in the first try? The only thing I did between drawing this and this is I don't secretly practice drawing. When I draw, I put everything online. I put everything on YouTube. The only thing I did between is draw this room that I'm in and this PNG model that I'm speaking through. Realistically, how does drawing this help me draw men? I legitimately have no idea how this is possible. What kind of tutorial would this be if in the middle of this tutorial I told you, oh, also to draw men, you need to learn how to draw one girl in 4 different positions and also a room. I see this opinion on the internet a lot where when they're asked for advice on how to draw, some artists go, oh, just draw. And some people who are new to art say in response to that, huh? This is the most useless advice. This doesn't help me. But what you see from this video is start to finish how to learn. Sometimes the answer, I think, is literally just to draw. This is Insider, by the way. I love him. Because although he sounds completely normal in the Japanese voiceover,
一旦休憩ってのも悪くないんじゃないか、ドクター。
switch him to English, and he suddenly says stuff like this.
I'm actually better at wrestling than shooting. Makes the cleanup easier. I'll give you some time to cry out in pain while I adjust my weapon. I was really hoping it wouldn't turn out like this. In our current situation, a complete sweep would be the most efficient solution. If you insist on being so stubborn, then prepare for execution.
Does not match the art whatsoever. But I love this donut angel. Enforcer. I feel like I'm drawing a lot of angels. All of the male characters from Arknights that I like just happen to be angels. Or angels or devils. Those are my favorite characters in Arknights. By now, I've tried, I think, pretty much... I'm not saying that there are no other workflows, but I've tried on the majority of workflows using different adjustment layer modes, and whether you're doing line art or not. How I'm painting right now is how I started digital art. Going from traditional to digital, if you're new to it, I recommend this workflow because it's the most similar to traditional. I feel like it makes switching the easiest. Because you're working with so few layers and you're not really interacting with a lot of the different tools you're given in the art program or the drawing program you're using, you're really only focusing on the basics. The bad thing about this method is that there are two ways that you can finish this painting. One, you leave it rough and you find beauty in the rough strokes, which a lot of people do when they're not using just a hard round brush and they're actually using textured brushes. Or you can go the smooth route of smoothing everything out, but it takes an exorbitant amount of time to do that. And I'm not a perfectionist, but sometimes if you over smoothen it out, it loses a lot of the character in the strokes that you use. At this point, I'm confident enough to draw men. But who am I going to draw for the final ending of this video? I'm ready to finally finish this painting.
Broken sun, shed a light on everyone. Broken sun, you are not the only one. Lord, they can take my stars. I won't let you go
Logos, carrier of my IS5 runs, taker of all of my Arundums and Originiums, best Banshee. Sometimes I look at my paintings and I'm like, it's okay. This is one of the paintings where I'm like, I succeeded my expectations. Very good, very good. The layer I used to brighten Logo's face in the end is overlay, and I just used the soft brush. If you're one of the rare people, because I know there's a subset of my audience that doesn't draw at all whatsoever, assuming you watch this until the end, I guess watching someone struggle to draw men may be entertaining to you. Maybe think about that a little bit more. A sadist? Actually, now that I think about it, maybe I could have made a tutorial only showing my last painting, but I have morals. It took me so long to learn how to draw men. If I just told you, oh, only use one brush and it'll solve all your problems, that is false advertising. I mean, using one brush definitely helped, but I don't think it helped in a sense that, oh, you can learn how to paint anime men by only using one brush, you know? I think I still need a few more practice paintings. There's obviously something missing. There's some questionable practices. So I'm gonna work on that and maybe make a tutorial in the future. You might ask me, you made a video on how to draw faces. Why didn't you just do that? And to that I say, hubris. Thinking that the skills to draw anime women would transfer over to draw anime men. Obviously it doesn't transfer over whatsoever. That was a false assumption. I guess the one lesson, if any, that you can take from this video is that analyze your own failure of a painting to figure out where your deficiencies are and create a plan to fix them. And maybe it'll work out. I think it worked out for me. Will my next study be a struggle like this one? Or an actual serious tutorial? I guess we'll find out together. If you watched till the end, you're a real one. Thanks for watching till the end. See ya!